Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to discuss about CI and CD, and we will be using GitHub, Laravel and AWS. So let's start. First of all, we will create a new Laravel project in an empty folder. So copy the code from the Laravel website and paste it in the terminal. So we will create a new project in our local machine, and I will install it in the same directory. So I will put dot there and press enter. Now we will be installing Laravel. As you can see, it is installing Laravel, so it will take a bit time. As you can see, now we are installing Laravel here on our local machine. And as you can see, we have successfully installed Laravel in our local machine. Now we will create an empty repository in GitHub, so let's go for it. So create a new repository and give the name of your choice. So I will name it Lara CICD, and you can give any description that you want. So I will write Laravel CICD tutorials and create a new repository. And now as you can see, GitHub already given us some commands. So first of all, we need to initialize our repository as a Git repository. So I will copy that code and paste it in my terminal. So now my local project is a Git repository. So for now we will copy just the GitHub code. So git add readme. So we will now add the readme file only. Later on we will add the other files. So git commit. So we added the readme file. Now we will commit it. And now we will push our code to the GitHub repository. So currently we have only selected the readme file. So we have added our remote repository link, and now we will push it. So as you can see, it has been finished, and we have uploaded our file, a readme file, to our repository. So that means we have successfully linked to our remote repository. As you can see, all of these are green now. So now let's add all of the files. So I will write git add dot means all. So all of the files will be included in it, except those ones which are in the git ignore file. And now we will commit. Git commit m and initial commit. So all of our files are added to this GitHub, and now we will push all the files to the GitHub repository. So now as you can see, we have added all of the files in our GitHub repository and also all there. So now let's quickly create Elastic Beanstalk environment. So you can create it from there, or you can search for it in the above search bar and you can see it. It will appear there, and you can choose it from there as well. So create a new application and give it a name of your own choice. I will name it Lara CICD, and you can choose your platform. So we are using PHP, so I will select PHP, and you can choose the platform version as well. And there are two options, sample application and upload your code. So I will choose sample application and we will create the application. And this creating application will take some time because it will install all of the things and set up our environment for our PHP environment. So in the meantime, we will create code pipeline. So we will go in a new tab to AWS and we will select code pipeline, and you can search for it if you can't see it here. So create a new code pipeline and give it a name of your own choice. And we are creating a new one, so we will choose the new service role and click next. And which source are you using? So we are using GitHub, so we will select GitHub. And now we have to connect to our GitHub repository. So you will click on the Git connect to GitHub, and you have to log into your account, and then you have to select your details. So first of all, this connection, give it a name. So I will name it Laravel CICD and connect to GitHub, log into your account, and then you have to choose your repository. So I will select only a selected repository, and then I will select only the repository that I want, which is Lara CICD, and then save the changes. We are doing this because we want to give access only to the selected repository, not to the all repositories. And now we will connect to our repository. So repository name, so select your repository, and the branch name, which is the main branch, and click next. Our Elastic Beanstalk environment is not ready yet, so when we click next, as we are using GitHub Actions, that's why we are going to skip this build stage. But if we have used code commit from AWS, then we would have to use this build stage. So now in this video we are going to skip this build stage because we are using GitHub Actions instead of code commit from AWS. So we are selecting our deployment stage. So we will be using the AWS Elastic Beanstalk, and we will select our application name and the environment name. As you can see, it is not completed yet, so our environment is starting. So if we click next, it is just a summary, and create pipeline. So it is reading the source. As you can see, the circle on the right side, and it failed because our environment is not ready yet. and when it starts and shows the green OK, then it will be ready and we will retry it again. So let's wait for it. And now after some time it's ready and we are seeing the green tick OK. So now let's retry again. And it will take some time, and now we have successfully connected to our source, and we will deploy our code now to our Elastic Beanstalk. And you can see it is in progress now. So it will pull all of our code from the GitHub repository to our Elastic Beanstalk environment. And it will take some time. So now you can see we have successfully deployed our application and copied our code from GitHub to Elastic Beanstalk, and everything is okay. And now if we click on that link, we will see our website, but it shows us 403 forbidden because we have to set some more things. And here if you come to actions, you can see there are different options given, and we are using Laravel, so we will select Laravel and click on the configure, and you can see we have Laravel.yaml file, and all of the file there are some instructions given in this file, and you can add or remove some instructions from this file. So you can see we have different versions which we install dependencies and some other codes. So we will start the commit. So we have successfully added YAML file to our repository. And now it will update our code. And why we are using this YAML file, you will learn it a bit later in this video. We have successfully deployed our code. Now let's refresh. Actually, the problem is that we are in the main directory, but Laravel uses the public directory. So we have to configure our environment and tell the software to look for the public repository, public folder instead of the home folder. So if we write here public, so this message will be changed. You can see now, you can see server error. We will deal with it later on. And let's change the root repository, the root folder to the public folder. and you can select Nginx or Apache. So I will leave it in Nginx, and you can select some different options here as well. What I will leave it is these are, and update it. So now it will take some time to reconfigure our environment. Now it reconfigured our environment, and then let's remove the public from the URL, and you can see the same error now. So now we have and we are seeing this error because we don't have the env file, and that is because it is ignored in the gitignore file. As you can see, we don't have the env file in our repository. So for now, let's push our local env file, but later on you can see it will be directly created by the YAML file. But for this, let's ignore it from the gitignore file, and then we will add all. So this file will be added, and we will commit it. So git commit include env file, and click enter, and this file will be added. And now let's push our code to GitHub. And it shows us an error because we have created the YAML file, so we have to update our local repository. We will post write git full so that our local repository is updated, and now we will add the sample, and now we will commit, and then we will push it. So we have added our workflows from the GitHub repository, the YAML file, and I will push it again. So now successfully we uploaded our local files to GitHub, and now let's check. It is in progress. So actions, and you can see it is in progress. So if we check it, it will run some checks according to our YAML file that we have wrote there, and it is successful. So now you can see we are pulling the code from GitHub to our Elastic Beanstalk environment. So now we have successfully updated our code, and now let's check it again, and you can see our project is live now. So we have successfully deployed our code through CI and CD. Now let's make some changes so that we can see that these changes are deployed automatically. So I will change the title of the website. So let's say Laravel CI and CD, and then I will add this file, this change, and then I will commit it. So git commit m and home file modified. And now one file change, and now let's push the code to our repository. And now the YAML file, all of these actions, so you can see the home file. So it will first run all of these checks. If it is successful, then the code will be deployed to the server. It is checking. And now that was successful. And you can see cafe and v and everything are done. So now you can see we are deploying our code. So it is automatically pulling the code from the GitHub as the files have been changed, and it is successful automatically. And now you can see the Laravel CICD, the title has been changed. So we have successfully updated our change. So now let's add an h1 tag to our code. So h1, and this is Laravel CI and CD deployment. So now let's add this change. So git add and dot, and commit it. So home file modified to, and now let's push our code to GitHub. So as soon as we update our code in the GitHub, it will automatically run those checks in the YAML file if it is successful. If all of those things were successful, then it will be automatically deployed to our server. If it failed, then it will not be deployed to our server. So as you can see, it is automatically pulling the code from GitHub and updating itself. So we have successfully updated the code, and now let's check it and refresh the code. So as you can see, we have this update here. This is Laravel CICD deployment, but I put it in the wrong place. I think I put it in the h1 tag in the head area. So we have to cut this code from there and write it somewhere down here in our main body. So I will write here h1 Laravel CICD GitHub and AWS. And now let's add this change. And now let's push our code to the GitHub repository. And now again it will run all the tests, and if it pass, then the code will be deployed to our server. As you can see, it is running now. And if you click on it, you will see the details. So it is successfully completed. And now it is deploying our code automatically. So we don't need to do anything. We just need to push our code. We just need to push our code to GitHub. And it is updated successfully. And now you can see our code is updated automatically. So Laravel CI/CD, GitHub and AWS. So in this way you can make changes, add features to your website and then update your code automatically. And you can see there are some test runs in the YAML file, so you can add or remove code here and add instructions here in this YAML file according to your need and requirements. So now let's check it, as we have some default tests in Laravel. So I'll fail one test and you will see that if the test fails, then our code will not be deployed. So instead of true, we will return false here in this simple example, and then we will add our code to our repository. So git add all. Now I'll commit the code. And now let's push it. And when it runs, it will fail because this test is returning false, which means this test has been failed. So you can see that is running now, starting job and running all of our code. And you can see do this, do this. So you can see the test has been failed. So if you have something failed, the code will not be deployed to the production server. and PHP unit process completed with z1. So we had 2 tests and 1 test is a failure. So that's all about CI and CD code deployment, and thanks for watching.